If you don't mind, we're going to just try to hear these last two stories, let these two brothers, of course one uncle, one stepfather share their story, and then we'll let Dr. Tony Jackson finish us up with something to take home with us.
All right.
So, yeah. Kenneth Banks, and he won't say it, but I'll say it before he starts. Antoine Bolden is your first cousin. Second cousin. He's actually a part of the family, and that part was what he did when he went to the U.S. Congress. He was representing Corey Jones, who was Terry's nephew.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Uncle Bobby. Happy birthday.
Thank you
for inviting me. Wow, where could I start? This right here been very explosive. You know, you look around and then you really don't know your whole culture until you experience, you know, a lot of different people and a lot of different religion and things of that sort. My dad is a pastor, and so I wasn't exposed to a lot of, you know, the outside, the streets and all that, but what I was exposed to, community, police, involved with police, clergy, sitting down at the table, trying to come up with ideas, create ideas how you can make communities better prior to Corey's death. So, so I was always engaged with police departments and that type of thing. And it was amazing. It was on that one Sunday, October 18th. Corey was a drummer. I'll tell you a little bit about Corey. He was a drummer. He had 2 degrees. He was a special kid. He's a kid that every father would want. Played football, the whole nine. And he was just starting to become a professional drummer. He played in a lot of churches, a lot of community events that we used to host with the police department. He also played in an activist band that even some of the white members and things of that sort, they was integrated to the United States, just like, you know, per se we was from Africa. You know, being in barges and things of that. So their whole deal was to, you know, bring peace and harmony to all cultures. So one night he was playing the band in Palm Beach Gardens, Stuart, Florida. He was on his way back home, and his car broke down. And waiting on a tow truck, he called for help. And he called the operator as far as the tow truck, and she was like on the cell phone. So you had this police officer, his name was Newman Roger. He was on a stakeout. I guess they had some burgers at this hotel, so he was supposed to be monitoring on the stakeout, which he wasn't really even supposed to be there. I'll just put that out there. It was on the police highway patrol. When Corey got killed, it was on a highway patrol area that wasn't even in his jurisdiction. So he said that it was a random vehicle or a vehicle that he was going to go inspect. He was actually supposed to be 10 miles away, you know, monitoring something else. And I don't know what happened with that, but he approached a car that he said there wasn't nobody in there or whatever. And then as he approached the car, he took off his his name tag. He took off his vest. He left his radio in the car, and he also took his weapon and left it in the car. So I guess he was probably monitoring Corey. Maybe he thought it was some kind of drug, because one of the band members actually stopped and wanted to assist him. He actually showed when he actually bought oil from some kind of convenience store that he was going to help him. So maybe the officer thought it was some type of drug transaction, because it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. So so he was like, you know, he was on the phone. So this officer approached him, and luckily that the lady that he was talking to, the cell phone was still on. He had one cell phone, but the other cell phone was still on. And this lady who he was talking to, he was engaged with, she could hear everything. You know, it was still on while this officer approached him. So the officer said, well, how's everything? And Corey was like, well, I'm good. Officer, you need help? No, I'm good, officer. Then all of a sudden, you hear 6 shots.
Wow.
So the officer used his own personal gun to assassinate my nephew. And that was just that within itself. First he shot 3 times. He said that Corey had dreads, Corey had on a black shirt, Corey had a gun in his right hand, Corey fired at him. This was his report, but he don't know that the cell phone was recording everything.
Wow.
And so, and so what happened, found out that he shot 3 times. Corey was running or whatever, and then there was a pause, it was a 30-second pause, and then he shot 3 more times, and the 4th time it killed, it hit him in the back in the heart. So, he told everybody that all his statement said that Corey shot at him. Corey had the gun in his right hand. Corey was left-handed. Corey played golf. He had a left club. We know that. So we sitting there trying to process all this. We said Corey would never hurt nobody. The only thing that I believe that was true that he said that Corey ran, because we was taught. I kind of raised him. I'm the uncle that raised him. His dad wasn't really in his life, all that. But what I'm saying is, we was taught to respect the police. That was something that was our tradition, respect the police. And we're gonna always say yes sir or no sir, to police. So Corey would have never hurt a fly. Corey was never involved in anything like that. Like I said, he was a drummer, he was a committed drummer, he was consistent, he was always on time. And then for this guy to say that he shot at him, and then later on say that the gun was never shot, the gun was brand new. Corey also was a manager at the House Authority office. Well, he was a manager there. And what happened was his boss wanted him to get a gun because of the type of work he used to do. He used to be, like we say in the hood or whatever, inspecting. So he had just got the gun. The gun never been fired, just got registered. But the police put in a statement that he had fired at him. The gun was never fired. He didn't have bullets in the gun. The bullets, he had the bullets, but the bullets, it was never in the chamber or anything like that. The gun was brand new, in a box. Wow. And it took, that was like 3:30 in the morning. It took him 13 hours to notify the family. He had his drum set in the car, his ID was with him, his cell phone, all that, but it took 13 hours to notify us. So we don't know what happened in those 13 hours. As far as, what they might have tampered, what they might have went and even got a gun. We don't know that information. But it's amazing. We have a very, very, very big family in that area. Everybody knows who we are. And what happened was how God kind of set it up. My last name is Banks. My sister married name is Jones. So they didn't know Corey was a Banks. So what they did, they lied, they put all this false statement out until they found out that Corey's name was a Banks, and then all of a sudden, all hell broke loose. So they couldn't backtrack all these interviews that they had, and I was like, just because a name, you talk about this life that's down there, bleeding on the ground, and it was in Palm Beach Garden. Palm Beach Garden is like, y'all heard of Palm Beach, right? Yes. Palm Beach Garden is attached to Palm Beach. That's like where Tiger Woods played, Tiger Woods live, all those people like that live. So they never have these kind of issues. So when Corey died on their lawn, they was trying to protect all this. So to make a long story short, we was sitting there. We got that call 13 hours later. They said they couldn't find his family members. They have ID, cell phone, drums. He worked in the county. He was a county worker. So I don't understand why they say they couldn't find him. And my dad is a bishop. Everybody know who my dad is in that area, and everybody know who Corey is. So 13 hours that's a whole nother different subject there, but it's amazing how people will, like they say, they'll scandalize your loved ones, and they'll throw dirt on them. They'll do all these kind of things. Like the guy said, Corey had a grill. Corey had dreads. Corey had on a black shirt. Corey was right-handed. Corey was left-handed. Corey's haircut was like yours. His haircut was like yours. He didn't have on a black shirt. He said he had grill. Corey didn't have a grill. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he never wore a grill. But that's the perception that they did to try to slander, your loved one. And just moving forward. So they did all this lying, and I'm sitting there on TV. I'm like, God, dog, who they talking about? Corey would have never. We sitting there, everybody's in awe. So we like, okay, well, when we heard about it, I went to, Corey's brother's house, and I sat in the backyard right there, and I started talking to God. I was like, I'm sitting here doing all this work, with the community, and you take Corey? I said, I got a lot of other nephews that I thought that, they ain't nowhere near, what Corey was. And I was like, you took Corey? That Corey was I was grooming him to be an activist like what we're talking about here. And for him to take him on that short note, and he was getting all the calls. He was going to start going to all these places, New Orleans, and with the band and stuff and all that. He was getting all these calls. And I say, well, what do you want me to do? And the word just kept coming up. I want you to be a speaker for this. I want you to commingle with the police department. I want you to get in their face. I want you to find out about politicians, what kind of power they have. I mean, all these things was just coming out. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, I don't want to talk. I do a lot of stuff from behind the scenes, but I don't do a whole lot of talking. I'm an action guy. I like to work. So, oh boy. So it was, so we started. So I said, and then someone was like, go down to the police department. So the police department was trying to find somebody to talk to too, because they wanted to try to see what was going on. They wanted to help or either cover up. Either one, they were still looking for a family member. So they found us. So we started connecting with the police department, and we started going there once or twice a week. Then we started with the district attorney office. Then we started with the state attorney. Then we started with all these other advisors that was giving us advice, because a lot of times we sit there and we go into these little huddles instead of facing these criminals or this system in the face. We got to get in their face. You know what I'm saying? We got to sit there, even if they're lying, we need to get in their face, and we need to keep making appointments, because it's going to be a long journey. As I hear, 6 years, 4 years, 5 years, and we got to actually process this thing and find out the information that we need to find out, so we can be able to be prepared. So when we have these long journeys, we need to become the lawyer, not lawyer become us. We need to become the lawyer. We need to be the one that's gonna protect our loved ones. And if we don't know the legal process, it's a system. It's racial, but black people black cops killing us too. So it's a code and policy and procedure that we have to attack. And if we don't attack that, we're gonna get shot. That process gonna keep going. The justice system gonna keep going. But until we can find out, actually sit at the table and process information, everything's going to be the same, because they policing what the policy is. And if the policy don't change, the policing surely ain't going to change, and we're going to get shot just like we've been doing. Not only blacks, Latinos, white, everybody else, because everybody is monitoring this Jim Crow or whatever we want to call it, system that allows them to shoot us and cover it up and prolong the process, so we can't get justice for our families. Yes. And I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to let you finish up.